Sam Darnold has gotten a new toy to play with this season in Le'Veon Bell. We all expect big things from him this season, but just how much better is he? If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. I love having you here. As a reminder, I am doing a t-shirt giveaway for the first place winner of our mock draft contest. It's real easy. I'll leave the link down in the description down below. You don't really even have to know how good the players are. They rank them in a power ranking system, so you just literally click on them. You get points based on if the player is taken in the first round, and if you actually get the pick correct, you win a little bit more points. So anyone can really do it. You don't have to know that much about draft stuff. So enter down below. It's totally free. And get yourself entered to possibly win a t-shirt. Welcome to the 6th installment of our For Better or Worse series. I'll link the other 5 down below in the description. If you're new to this series, it's real easy. I take player A against player B, and I determine if we have gotten better or worse from the season before. For this episode, I'm going to add a little bit of a wrinkle to it. I'm going to be comparing Bilal Powell and Isaiah Crowell together against Le'Veon Bell. Since we split carries the last few years, I want to have a fair comparison. Powell's been in the league longer than the other two, so I'm going to use the last 5 years of his career, and I'm going to use the last 5 years of Isaiah Crowell and of Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, Bell didn't play last year, so the 5 years prior to that. I'm going to be ranking these guys in 10 different categories. We're going to start with their contract, Pro Football Focus grade, their availability, so if they've missed any time due to injury or suspension, what their offensive line rank was, the amount of touches they got when rushing the ball. I didn't want to include touches for receptions because those aren't quite as impactful as far as a pounding on the body goes. We're going to look at their receptions per year, their yards per touch, so that will include receptions and rushes. We're going to look at touchdowns, turnovers, and overall yards gained from scrimmage. Up first, contract. Bilal Powell is unsigned, so he is going to get a 0, while Isaiah Crowell has signed with the Oakland Raiders for $1.25 million. Le'Veon Bell signed with us for just over $13 million a year, so price per player obviously goes to Powell and Crowell. Now, obviously, money plays a huge factor in the NFL because we have a hard salary cap. But since the Jets have not been prevented from signing anyone else due to Le'Veon Bell's contract, I don't think this is really an issue. Even though Crowell and Powell are going to win this category, I wouldn't be concerned with the $13 million unless it prevents us from adding more talent to our team, which it doesn't. Up next, Pro Football Focus grade. Bilal Powell has a 68 over the course of the last 5 years, while Isaiah Crowell has a 63.6. That averages out to a 65.8 for those guys, while Le'Veon Bell averages out to a 78.6. So Bell is the winner in this category. Availability. Powell has missed 16 games over the last 5 years. Crowell has missed 3 games for a total of 19 games missed among those two. Le'Veon Bell has missed 17 games over the course of the last 5 seasons. We're not counting this past year, obviously, because he did not play at all. He wasn't under contract. For offensive line rank, I only took last year's ranking because Crowell wasn't on our team for the last few years. So we had the 24th ranked offensive line, so that's just kind of how I graded that one. Le'Veon Bell has been on the team with the best offensive line over the last few years. So obviously Crowell and Powell have had a harder time running behind our line than Bell has had with the Steelers. In terms of overall rushes, Powell has 492 rushes, Crowell has 880 rushes for a total of 1,372 rushes, while Bell has 1,229 rushes. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of a issue with this sort of category because Bell has a lot more wear and tear on his body than Crowell and Powell do overall. But as it kind of stands, Powell and Crowell have actually missed more games than Bell anyway, so I'm not sure if the touches necessarily matter as much as far as like the next year or two, which is really all we guaranteed Bell anyway. And obviously if Bell gets injured, it's going to look a lot worse because you have, 2 players to fall back on with Powell and Crowell as opposed to 1 player in Le'Veon Bell. In terms of receptions per year, Powell has 30, Crowell has 23 for a total of 53 receptions per year from those 2 guys, while Bell has an average of 62 receptions over the course of the last 5 years, and 3 of the last 4 years he had over 75 receptions. The 1 year he didn't, he actually only played in 6 games, so he probably could have reached that threshold regardless. But 75 receptions a year, that is absolutely insane. You're talking wide receiver type numbers. He is basically a Swiss Army knife as far as the amount of yards you're going to get from him rushing and the amount of receptions you're going to get from him in the passing game. This is absolutely huge and the most important thing about Bell's career, in my opinion. Now, I chose to look at yards per touch because the passing game has become such a big part of the NFL today and such a huge reason as to why Le'Veon Bell was brought into this team. Powell has averaged 5.38 yards per touch. Crowell has averaged 4.72 yards per touch for a total of 5.05 yards per touch from those two guys. Bell, on the other hand, has averaged 5.2 yards per touch over the course of his career, so obviously Bell wins in this category. In terms of touchdowns, Powell has 15, Crowell has 28 for a total of 43 touchdowns over the last 5 years, while Le'Veon Bell has a total of 42 touchdowns. Now, that is not that big of a deal as far as overall production lost in terms of Bell, but Crowell and Powell do win this category by 1 touchdown. In terms of turnovers, Crowell and Powell both have 6 for a total of 12 turnovers, while Bell only has 8 turnovers over the last 5 seasons. As far as overall scrimmage yards go, Crowell and Powell have combined for 8,164 yards, while Bell on his own has gotten 7,996 yards. So you're thinking one player is getting that many yards for your team over the course of the last 5 seasons. Yeah, of course, Powell and Crowell win this category, but I think it is pretty impressive seeing the amount of yards that Bell has actually been able to accumulate. Now, obviously, this isn't a perfect system to grade because injuries can happen and there's flaws in some of the logic and some of this stuff, but we're looking at an overall production standpoint here. So if Bell gets injured, that could hurt us a lot more than, having 2 running backs that we could lean on. That said, you are getting a Swiss Army knife as far as Le'Veon Bell goes. He's going to give you 1,200 yards a year, and he's going to get you 75 receptions. So when you think of it that way, you're basically getting 2 players. You're getting a running back and a wide receiver. You can line him up as a tailback. You can split him out wide as a wide receiver, and he's just going to totally dictate what the offense is going to do and how the defense is going to align. They need to watch out for Bell every part of every play and know where he is on the field. So adding that little bit of versatility to the offense is going to be an incredible security blanket for Sam Darnold. Now, why is that versatility so important? We look at Jamal Adams, and versatility is why he is so good. Obviously, he's a strong safety, but he can also play cornerback, linebacker, and blitz off the edge. When the offense has to take into account where Jamal Adams is, it's going to make that quarterback think a fraction of a second longer. Now, the same idea holds true for Le'Veon Bell. If Le'Veon Bell can prevent that defensive end from crashing down into Sam Darnold for just a split second more, that's going to give Sam a few extra fractions of a second to throw the ball and get it to other players or get it to Le'Veon Bell. Now, I am totally stoked on this. I have been preaching about it all offseason. I have not changed my tune. I wanted Le'Veon Bell. I'm real happy we got him. I think we are going to see huge things out of him as long as he can stay healthy. Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, go Jets. J-E-T!